Hi there. Hello, everyone. Hey, 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 guys. Hello, Joseph. Hello, Nathan. How are you? Thank you for joining us today. Hope you are ready to learn, engage, hello, and gain valuable insights from our speaker. Great, I see you are still joining. I can see several of you. Hello. Great to see you all. Great. So let's get acquainted. I'm Elena Prohoda, and I'm social media marketing and community specialist at Serpstat, a growth hacking tool for search marketing. Let me tell you about our platform and the webinars. Serpstat includes more than 50 tools for search marketing, and with the platform, it's easy to analyze websites and competitors, create SEO content, collect keywords, check backlinks, and track rankings on a daily basis, and many, many more. And a free 7-day trial is available to try these features. And about the webinars, why attend our webinars? Digital marketing experts and thought leaders cover hot topics at our live events. They provide SEO agencies, in-house teams, freelancers, and business owners with practical advice and techniques to achieve their SEO and business goals. And today we are covering creating SEO dashboards to reveal insights for better decisions. And let me talk a little about the format. The webinar will last about 60 minutes, an hour. If you wish to ask questions, you are welcome to do so, and our speaker will answer them during and after the presentation. It depends on the question. If it's related to the section our speaker is covering, he'll answer right away. And if you wish to get all the materials from our webinar, the presentation and the recording, don't forget to register if you haven't already. I'll send the page to the chat, just a moment. It's here, and it's time to meet our speaker, Eugene.
Yeah, what's up, guys?
Hello, how are you today?
Yep, I'm good. I'm good. Great to meet you all. Some of you probably know me. If you ever interacted with Serpstat, you for sure might know me. I'm definitely far from the salt leader, but I met a lot of different challenging tasks that our clients work with, and today I'm going to share them with you.
Oh, thank you. And it's so exciting to have you speak on such an exciting topic. And firstly, let me introduce you briefly. As a part of a Serpstat team, Eugene helps businesses grow and improve their influence on the market. Experience in sales, foreign trade, and customer service management helps him to build strong relationships with different types of businesses all over the world. And he believes there is no miracle solutions for all cases, and the key to a great result in its essence lies through knowledge and ongoing efforts. Right? And as Eugene will share with us today, we will discover where to start when building customizable dashboards that will help you arrange, structure, and analyze up-to-date data at a glance. Curious about it? So, guys, prepare your questions and enjoy the topic. And Eugene, here you are.
Yeah, hey guys, so great to meet you. In short, I'll give just a brief idea of what I'm actually doing in Serpstat. So, as the key business manager, in case if you get in touch with us and you need some specific solutions which are not available in our interface, or in case if you interact with some specific data requirements, you may get in touch with me in most cases. So, I'm the bridge between your team and our developers team. I helped a lot of in-house teams with building up their analytics. I helped a lot of agencies to relieve the routine and repeating tasks from their teams. And also I deal with our partners, which we share our data with. So basically each task from my experience, each specific task for each industry, each niche, each type of agency with specific type of services is unique, and it's only usually about the way you operate with this data. So there's no two similar tasks probably. And today I will show you some, give you the brief idea of understanding how to operate with this, and show you a couple of the most interesting cases that I recently had with our clients. So first of all, what I'd like to propose you to start with, that's basically getting just essentials of obtaining data with the API, so we'll have an idea what it's about for us to have a point to start with. So with the definition of API, that's application programming interface, set of functions and procedures allowing to create of application to access to features or data in an operating system. Sounds tricky for me, sounds too complicated. So in plain words, that's basically a way for data requester to build up the request for the data provider, and for data provider to understand what is the request about, collect this data, structure it up, and give it back for the requester. So in plain words, this is basically a language which helps us to operate between data providers and requesters in a common way. So the way I propose to structure basically our today's webinar is for me to give you a better idea about benefits of what we can obtain with it. In plain words, with operating with the API and getting this data. Because initially we need to pull data we're going to work with and we're going to combine to get the results we need. So in short, to make long story short, there are like four main points of benefits we can get with it, and we will go step by step through all of them to get from the easiest one to more complex. So first one, that's basic chance to relieve your team or yourself from the routine research task. Like anytime when we jump into collecting data, anytime we jump into any kind of research, we have some pattern, we have some repeatable actions that we do with data, which we can speed up the process. We can speed up for us. So to leave more time for experiments, for creativity, A/B tests, and so on and so on, we can leave that process to the automatical getting data through API. The second one, that's basically combining data into sequences to create the customized dashboards, which will contain all the data that we need in short. Like the idea is pretty much the same, but the goal for us is also to get this data automatically and structure that in a way we actually need and we used to. In the third block, that's basically operating with relevant and up-to-date data, we'll go through difference between pulling data from any type of databases or making a request to collect data based on the input request we have. And the last one will be regarding combining this data, mixing it up with some data we can get from Google Analytics or Search Console to get the most like relevant, up-to-date dashboards that we can use. So let's go step by step in here. Let's start with the first block. That's relieving the routine from us, from our teams. We will go through the simple example of performing the analysis of niche players based on the keyword input. So for example, we got a client who works with specific type of goods or specific types of services. The keyword itself in our case is just an example. It can be any. In our case, I picked like buy Nike shoes because that's the transactional keyword which contain brands and contain product. And we will go through two ways we can usually get this data. So we can go the manual way. In that case, we simply grab the keyword, go into search result page and start gathering all the players in it, and we will first of all collect those websites that we faced in search. In case if you go this way, always go through incognito mode to avoid like personalized SERPs from your browser settings. Once we collected those players, usually we need to understand how they stack with each other, how huge they are, and we will need to grab the most common um, metrics for us to understand who we're dealing with. Usually, commonly, those metrics in case if we speak about like search engine optimization analysis, that's visibility estimation of organic traffic, number of keywords in organic and paid search, number of keywords in ads in general, like the volume of ads, domain rank, number of referent domains, and links. So for each of these data, once we collected those websites we're going to analyze, it doesn't matter what like software we use, we will need to jump between different reports, collecting this data, storing it somehow, and so on and so on. In automated way, in this example, we can make a single API call to top by keyword report, which will do the same. It will grab all the websites presented in search and give it back as the API response, but it will collect all the data that we actually need. And usually with the API request, we can get more data. So with a single request, without spending any time on further research and combining data, we can pull this and receive all the information needed. Um, that's speaking about like first idea of how we can speed up the process of obtaining data. The second point, basically, let's get to summary of this. So literally anything repeatable in the process of data collection that we do daily, step by step, can be automated, and there's always like a room to improvement where we can speed up this process and get data a bit more faster. Um, the second point is about creating the sequences. And the idea in here is the same as in our first point, but when we operate with creating the sequences, our goal is to use the response data that we got as the request, like to create the chain of the request, um, which will allow to speed up this process. So let's start with the example of creating this type of sequence. With the example of performing the research of our comparators blocks. So for example, if we work with clients projects or if it's our own project, we usually I recommend and I like personally skyscraper technique. We can jump into checking top performing articles in the blogs of our comparators, and if we do this with several of our comparators, we can find out the pattern, identify our green content in our industry, get additional ideas, and so on and so on. So in most cases, if we go through this like in manual way, we will start with analyzing the blog of our comparators for top performing articles in his blog, as in this case. So we analyze musician friends blog, and we can see like most of those pages is how to content, and we can grab those pages from those articles from here. What do we do next in case if we consider using this type of content, or we can do it better, or we don't have any similar type of content in our content strategy, we will need to jump into getting keywords we can potentially focus on and start getting traffic. So for this, we jump into keyword report of this specific page and filter those keywords by top 10 position with low keyword difficulty. Like in this example, so we jumped into this in specific page on it and filter only keywords from first to 10th positions, those that actually give traffic to our comparator, and left only keywords with low keyword difficulty. So in case if we decide to create a similar type of page or create a similar piece of content, those are keywords we'll have a chance to get into the top fastest way. And once we've applied this filter, we can sort results, descend in the search volume. So in that case, we will get keywords, which will give us the largest amount of searches. Um, Based on for this specific page. That's what we may go in case if we interact with the interface. So there are several steps on it. And once again, that's still time consuming and so on. In case if we go the automated way, we can combine all these steps into single API requests, creating a simple script that will do it for us. And for sure, in case if we create a similar type of content ourselves, we will need to identify sources, our comparators, get, follow links like with do follow attribute. So for this, we can grab this page, jump into backlinks, filter only links with the follow attribute, and so on. So in case we decide to create the similar type of content ourselves, we will know the potential sources we can gain links with the outreach. So the idea in here that we can combine basically all these steps with a single script and visualize this in any type of software we are used to get at glance like top performing, let's say top performing 5 articles by comparator, top 20 like keywords. We can consider in case if we going to work with going to create the similar type of content, and at the same time, in case we decide to go with this content, sources we can potentially consider for the backlinking outreach. So this will help us to get this data literally in seconds without interacting with any software and without spending time on this, basically on this routine. So basically, the summary for this short block is that any data that we get with the API call can be used as our further request. So which allows us to build the chains of requests where the response we get from the data provider is our next request. And literally anything you do step by step, any chain of actions can be repeated and can be automated and visualized in your own dashboard the way you actually need it and the way it's desired. The next block I want to pay attention to, that's about the differences and specifics of collecting the data itself. So in fact, there are um, several of them. I will focus on the main two. So the first one, that's pulling data directly from the database. And the second one, that's creating and building the task based on which your data should be collected and proceeded. So in first case, what we actually do, we make a request for we make a request to the database. So that's the current snapshot of data which is stored in the database. It can be keywords, it can be backlinks. Each like database has each like software has its own rate of update for this database and so on. So when we make this type of request, we simply grab the snapshot of it. And the second is basically the creating and building the task for collecting the data itself. In this case, we input data, input required parameters, and we start, data provider starts collecting data based on it. So it's always relevant, it's always up to date. And that's basically the main difference on it. So let's go through a few small examples of difference, so it will be pretty much clear. So the first one, let's first of all compare two comparative reports which look pretty much similar from the first view. So the first one, that's comparatives of sweetwater.com website based on the keyword database that we have. So as you can see, that list of comparators look this way. They are sorted descending relevance. So the idea is that the closest comparators of this website we supposed to see first in that list. At the same time, in case if we check the similar comparators report in the rank tracker, and in this case, I highlighted that we are analyzing only the set of keywords related to selling guitars as a specific type of good. We can see that the picture of comparators is a bit different from what we saw. So here's the top 5 comparators that we can see in here, and the order is a bit different. Comparators are more or less the same, but we can see this data more detailed. So the idea in here, what causes this difference? That in case if we start with the input of desired set of keywords, in our case, that's transactional keywords related to selling guitars as a specific type of good. The tool will proceed with getting the SERP results. It will gather all the keyword data. It will apply CTRs and so on, jump into further evaluation and build this data specifically for desired sets of keywords. In here, the idea is also that we input the desired region. So it's not the snapshot from overall database of United States. It may work also for any desired location, any like city, which works for setting up Google Ads can be set up in here. And the same website Sweetwater, in case if we switch the desired set of keywords from keywords related to selling guitars to keywords related to selling drums, we can see that the picture of comparators is also different. For example, we have a chance to identify comparators who work specifically with this type of good. Uh, that's basically the idea, and that's the difference between pulling data as a snapshot from the database, which have a specific rate of update, and pulling data and collecting data based on the input request. So with the second one, you can be sure the data is always relevant, it's always up to date, it's been collected based on the input that you requested, and it's definitely reliable. So this actually leads us to the brief summary that we can pull and process data of any set of keywords in like any specific locations. And the goal in here for us is to prepare, first of all, the sets of keywords that we're going to work with and that we are going to use for our analysis. Here I have a few examples that I saw by our clients, by users I worked with. Like as I mentioned, each project is specific and has the different type of requirements. So it's all about the groups of keywords, how you mark them up, how you tag them, and how the way you tag them and the way you build up those groups is basically um, uh, will help you to build up those further dashboards based on your requirements. So speaking about the options that I faced with our clients. So that's taken up by type of services that we do, mainly used by agencies, and they, in case they got a client who provide with like several specific type of services and focused only on specific locations. For example, they work in Denver only. And we need to understand like what comparators do they have for each specific type of service they do, because the picture of comparators may be different, as we saw in the previous example. Um, like the type by the type of products, for example, in case if we work with e-commerces, or in case not only e-commerces, small e-shops, huge aggregators, the idea is pretty much the same. We can tag up keywords by category of goods, by subcategory of goods, and so on. By brand names, that's what I faced in case if we work with some huge brands who track their branded requests and at the same time comparators branded requests. But also that works for e-commerces and so on. The last, probably two last points are more or less similar. I faced couple of times grouping up keywords by the type of content that we produce. For example, FAQs separately how to, separately content which is related to some specific topics and so on. And the last is by the search intent. So keywords which have transactional, commercial intent, or they are more informational. So tagging is usually depends only on the project specifics and only depends on your requirements. And you can have several tags related to a single keyword, which will allow you to uh, when you jump into creating the dashboards, this will allow you to uh, have them more flexible and structured. So, for example, you can filter up by several types of products related to specific brand only with transactional intent. You can also tag by location, languages, in case if like the website has several like languages and so on and so on. That's only depends on the project itself. Um, so that's about the difference between pulling data upon your request and difference between pulling data from specific databases as the snapshot. So which basically leads us to the last part where we will go through the specific use cases themselves. Give me a second. We will check how to mix up data, how to combine it between itself, and I will show you a few use cases which I found most interesting, which are easy to implement, but which give the fullest picture of your performance, giving you an idea of um, what you can start with and how you can get results in the shortest period of time. So let's first of all figure out what data we can collect and what data we can start working with for each specific set of keywords that we have. So as I mentioned, grouping up keywords, tagging them, combining them, that's only like up to you. And you can have different types of different sets of keyword you're going to work with, you're going to pull data for. So in those cases that we will go through, we will imagine that we pull top 100 organic results for each keyword that we will grab all the special elements that we found for any specific keyword. We will grab ads that we managed to find for each keyword, and we will pull the keyword data like search volume for the last 12 months, recommended bid by the search engine, and level of competition. Um, so in short, that's initial data that we may need precisely for the use cases that we will have a look through. But keep in mind that once you receive this data, you can go further and use uh, this data for getting additional insights. So for example, if we pulled this data by collecting information for the keyword set that we have, it doesn't mean that we should stop on this. If we get any like remember the second block, so if we receive this data, that can be another request, and we can make call to the database and get snapshots about comparators and so on and so on. So um, that's only about how you mix this data up, how you structure it, and so on and so on. And for sure, it depends only on the specifics of the project itself. Let's jump into the first use case. So basically, that's unveiling organic comparators, unveiling their traffic estimation, and calculating the percentage of the traffic share. The idea in here is pretty easy, and when we check like the share of voice in any tool, percentage of traffic share, like different tools call it in different way. Usually the same idea is applied, and you can easily have the same build up on your end, but with more trusted estimation, because all of the tools use the same CTR. All of the tools have their own formula for calculation, and once you have like this relevant data from your Google accounts, you can match this up with the data that you get from the SERPs, which will allow you to get the closest numbers of traffic estimation. So idea in here is pretty simple. We know once we grab um, keywords, once we get all of the players that appear in let's say top 20 results for the keywords we analyze, we can apply the CTRs. So CTRs can be any, and the best option is to grab CTRs that you have. So when you multiply the keyword search volume but the CTR of the position, you will get the rough estimation of the traffic. That will be completely like rough number. But as you know, the volume of traffic that you basically receiving, and you know your positions, you can check how you stack with how it stacks with that rough estimation to get this correctional modificator, which will be the rate that's supposed to get the rough estimation closer to the real traffic estimation. And once we get it, we apply this correctional modificator for the data about our comparators. I will show you how that looks if we um, do this for a single keyword. So for example, um, we in this case I've been calculated this based on a single keyword, but we can apply this for the whole group of keywords. So for example, we know um, the way top 20 results look like. We know the search volume of this keyword, and we apply the click-through rate. That this, in our case, this modification is 6.67. That's what we usually use when we work with this, which allows us to build the estimation of traffic by all of the players in search. And then we simply divide each share by the total, multiply by 100% for us to get the percentage of traffic by each a representative in search. So in graph, sorry, that looks a bit ugly, but the idea is pretty much clear. We can figure out the largest share of organic traffic by each player. The idea that you can input your own CDRs, you can figure out how the calculated traffic estimation correlates with the real traffic and apply this rate. As I mentioned, the set of keywords can be any, so you can pick any keyword sets on your end, and you all the time will have a chance to build up this estimation to unveil each player with in different types of regions with for different types of keywords and so on and so on, and have the clearest picture of the representatives in search. The second idea is pretty much the same, but that's about estimation of the paid traffic by the budget. So when we input the keyword set and desired location, instead of grabbing the organic positions like top 20 or top 10, we can grab only ads that appear in search depending and we know for sure like in which block this ad was found. So idea is pretty much the same. We multiply the search volume by the CTR of the ad depending on the block. So it can be like first upper block or lower one and so on and so on. We know we can also grab this data from our Google Ads account. And like when we multiply this, we get the estimation of clicks. Uh, Once we multiply that estimation of clicks by cost per click, we can get the budget estimation spent by each player. For sure, when it comes to paid search, and it doesn't matter like if it's Google Ads or something else. When it comes to the paid search, it's impossible to get to the real numbers, but we can identify the most active bidders for the specific set of keywords, and we can build up the same type of graph, figuring out um, who bids most than others for any specific type of keyword. It can be product, it can be anything. Um, the next is pretty much the same than previous to. That's estimation, the special elements. So in different niches, some special elements work better than each other, but what's common for any niche that special elements get a lot, enormously a lot of clicks. In some niches, that's pointless to focus much on organic, and the goal only is to get into some specific special elements. So first of all, you can build up the graph, which will allow you to check how many what is the most common and mostly shown up special element in that area for this specific set of keywords. And you will know the share of each player depending on the special element, which you can use for further analysis. As you know for sure what page appears for this special element, you can dig into this and figure out like how this page is structured and so on and so on. There are common recommendations for getting into specific special elements, but still you need to know what works best in this specific industry for the desired set of keywords you're going to work with. Um, so that's why once you jump into something you never worked with, you will need also to pay attention to special elements and at least know what works in there and what you will need also to do. The next use case is a bit more interesting and not mainly not about the estimation that as previous three that we went through. That's about the search volume itself. So for example, we jump into the new uh, industry, new type of service, or we have several types of goods we consider, including it can be like anything. For us to figure out the seasonality of the keywords, as we can get. Like depending on the region, the search volume definitely will be could be different. And as we know, the graph of the search volume for the previous 12 months, we can receive this data, match this up, and build the graph, which will show us if the demand, search demand in that area for this specific type of good or this service is static, or there's some specific seasonality, or it's going down and it's pointless for us to invest any effort in working on this specific type of service or good. So it works. Sometimes it works for e-commerces considering adding um, new type of products. Sometimes it works for big companies considering expanding. to prioritize their efforts, prioritize their budget, and figuring out markets which worth paying attention and getting into. Um, the Once again, it depends on the set of keywords you input, and the only I would like to pay attention here, don't that's completely different from Google Trend, because it's not a Google Trend is not something based on the real search volume, and in here we check the real number of searches by the set of keywords that we input. This use case is more or less simple. The next one will be more probably ads related, but most of us like know it. And in competitive niches, that's something widely used. That's cannibalizing competitors' organic traffic by using our ads. So the goal for us in here, that's basically to grab all of the keywords that our competitors go well in organic from the list of targeted keywords that we are tracking, that we are getting data for. That can be top 5, top 10. Usually that's top 10, but the idea that once we get those keywords, we prioritize that list by the keywords with the lowest cost per click, and at the same time with the highest position our competitor holds. So the idea and the goal for us in here is to spend the minimum budget on our Google ads, like restructure our budgets between ads that we have, and which will help us to eclipse the competitors' organic result. Push it down, steal some CTRs from there, and simply like replace them with our ads, which will help us to steal a bit of our competitors' like organic traffic. Um, that's widely also like widely used if we work with branded requests, because as all of us know, like setting up Google Ads campaign for competitors brand name or brand name related keywords, that's the common strategy that everyone use. um, the next case will be more search engine optimization related. That's sorry, that's not the one. This one is about prioritizing our own Google Ads campaigns. So in here, the idea is pretty much the same than in previous one, but for us, the goal is and we're optimizing our own budgets, not stealing like organic, not spending budgets where we already go good in organic search. So in here, what we do, we can divide pages um, into, we rank 4 into groups. Like roughly in well-performing page, which is, for example, from the first to 10th positions, and badly performing pages, which are from 11th to 12th, right? So the first one's going good and CTRs are good enough for us to get some organic traffic. The second one goes badly, almost in top 10, but still not giving any traffic for us. So we do the same type of prioritization by keywords with the lowest cost per clicks. So, but we check only keywords that from the second group where pages are going bad. Um, this will allow us, first of all, to get focus on pages which are almost on the first position. And in case if we grab keywords with the lowest cost per click, adding them into our Google Ads campaigns, we will have a chance to um, get a small boost for it, because once the page starts receiving paid traffic, as we know, like users behavior is a huge ranking factor as well. It will in case if it's everything is fine with the page from the conversion rate perspective, it will help have positive influence on our organic rankings. So it will help us to push up those pages a bit in search to the first like 10 results where we already gaining and have a chance to gain some organic traffic. And at the same time, in case if we grab keywords from our first group of pages, which already goes good inorganic, we can probably consider removing those keywords from our Google Ads campaigns in case if they are too pricey for us to spend and share like our budgets smartly. But in case if those keywords are not too pricey for us, we can leave them because we will have more chance to get clicks in case if we have both Google Ads and organic results on the first page. So that's probably the last one, more paid search related, and we will finally jump into a SEO related use case, which is the internal linking and the organic cannibalization. So as we know, links between inside of the website also give the link juice for the pages. Um, in our case, we can do approximately the same. We can figure out, and that's the most common strategy used by most agencies when they get the new project. So they check pages which have been already indexed and which are close to start gaining traffic and focus on them specifically. So this will allow us to grab only URLs on the second page of results and focus on them specifically using links from our own website. So um, uh, the sources of those links can be any. We can link them from the pages which already go good in our own website. We can consider getting like some links from other sites to it, but the idea is that we know for sure what keywords to focus on. And speaking about like the organic cannibalization, that's also huge aspect of like search engine optimization related issues. When we know the page which supposed to rank for the desired set of keywords but some other page appears higher, it's definitely a signal for us to place the link from the page which appears higher to the page which is supposed to rank well for us to um, spread the link juice inside of our own website and polish the internal linking. So in few words, that's basically it. We went through the most um, some of those cases are pretty easy, some are more complex, but that's the what you can achieve getting simply a six blocks of data which you can receive. I would like to jump into short conclusion on it. So the goal for us all the time is simply to have the data we can operate with, and once we have it, it's only about like our task, it's only about our creativity, it's only about like hypotheses we're going to try out, that's only about testing of what actually works, what's not. It only depends on how we proceed and operate with this information. But still, we need to have a data to operate with, and it's pointless to spend time on routine or simply spending time on gaining data and so on. So we can always speed this process up, leaving some space to what is exciting in our jobs, into testing, trying out, and like leaving a place for the creativity. That's probably was my conclusion to it. So Make data-driven decisions, work smart, and basically that's it. Let's go through your questions, guys.
Uh, Eugene, thank you for the informative presentation. It was engaging and filled with practical examples that helped us grasp the concepts better. And guys, I have some news for you. On the 20th of June, we will host the webinar with Omicida, Senior SEO, Technical SEO at Canon Europe. And the webinar will be dedicated to Google Analytics 4 and BigQuery, how to integrate Google Analytics to BigQuery. So there will be more practical things. Technical things and more practice. So stay tuned. Our sign up page is about to be published. So follow us on our social media. And now let's answer some questions from our audience. And guys, leave your questions in the live chat if you have, and we will still have some time before answering them because now let's get started with the questions you sent us before the webinar. And the first question. How can we ensure that our SEO dashboard remains up to date and relevant as algorithms and trends change?
In those examples that I showed you, we we've been checking mainly examples based on the data collection when we pull data from the SERPs themselves, right? So any algorithms implemented, like once we have any changes that affect search, and in the interface of Serpstat we have a like database storm report for it, for us to know if only our website is affected by changes or everyone's gaining or losing positions, which means that actually some algorithm was implemented. But the point is that using going through pulling data upon your request, any changes will be reflected in SERP results. And we collect initially the SERP results at the current state, like how they currently look. And each time when we make those requests, we can track changes. For example, if we know for sure that we had certain amount of pages, let's say in ranking in like top 10, and suddenly they disappeared or dropped to second page of the results, we can figure out who replaced us, and we can check the same. We can check if anyone also been like dropping positions or gaining positions and so on. Was it only about us? Did only uh, that affected only our website or someone else? Like all the time, when you make that data request, you have like a snapshot which can be stored on your end, like for the previous date, for example, for the previous week, previous month, and like, all the time you can check how it stacks for each like date and have that range of date graph, which also is pretty good in case if you um, need to figure out what happened. I had some use cases with our users when um, pretty well experienced in search engine optimization business owner got to us, and he's well skilled for guy not dealing to search engine optimization like each day. He hired some guys, and there was a tragic traffic loss, which he was going to figure out. He like fired these guys immediately and left only with the, let's say, like ruined traffic, and he was like looking for some solution and try to figure out the reason of it. So in case if you have that dashboard set up somehow, anytime you fill and you find out some losses in your organic traffic, you can figure out like what caused it, who replaced you, what happened, and you can keep an eye on your position in itself, right? Like we care about traffic, we care about transactions, and so on and so on, but our positions in search lead to it. So we also need to keep an eye on it. And if you track it, you can always be sure the data is like relevant and data is up to date.
Thank you. Sounds so useful and great. And one more question is, and what tools or software can be used to create an SEO dashboard?
Anything. Like there was a question regarding Google Analytics 4. In fact, any any software which you are frank with for the visualization. So it can be Looker Studio, it can be Power BI. I had a couple of freelancers building the same in spreadsheets. They've been making API calls through the spreadsheet and then building up this in pivot tables. That was enough for them. So in fact, that's simply the like massive of data. It doesn't matter where you store it, it doesn't matter where you visualize it, it can be literally anything, and you can match data from like any source. Looker is good as for me the easiest one and the most flexible with plenty of integrations and so on, but it depends on what you are and your team like internally use. That even can be a CRM, so you can simply visualize that in CRM by importing this and building the dashboards in Salesforce, like anything, literally anything that you are familiar with. The easiest one is spreadsheets, and there's like never a limit. So literally anything you can input data into.
Great. So it's our field. It's the field for our creativity. And let's turn to the questions in the chat. I can see a couple of questions. So the first question from Anna: can you share some examples of how data combination has led to valuable insights in SEO dashboards?
I cannot share any numbers, unfortunately, because like for some clients we've been developing it, that's the close information. Like I cannot speak much about, and definitely I don't know numbers for sure. But the only thing I can tell for sure that these guys are using the solutions that we developed for more than 4 years for now, and that's a huge aggregator operating in Western Europe. They like sell all the possible types of goods, and they work specifically with the identifying of data share, uh, like traffic share, by each specific type of good they work with. They are successfully using this for almost 4 years. Unfortunately, I cannot share the numbers in terms of traffic or saving budgets on it, but those who those teams who got to it and they are ready to develop something internal, they keep on using this for a long time. So definitely it has some results.
Great. And one more question from my teammate Paulina. Are there any common mistakes to avoid when creating an SEO dashboard?
The most common, the most common mistake probably not only in creating the ASO dashboard is not pick average of percent. Don't sum percents and divide by the number of summed. That's but that's the common analytics tip. So speaking about the um, search engine optimization mistakes, try pick relevant numbers, pick trusted numbers in case if you have for example, you jump into prioritizing your comparators. Make sure you update this data in case if there is an option in your solution to refresh this data. Anything like sometimes we jump into like misled solution decisions based on the data we work with. For example, in some cases we can check the backlinking profile, and we face that issue that I mentioned when we've been checking the options of pulling data from database or from like or pulling data like by our request based on our requirements. So in case if we operate with keyword databases or backlinks databases, um, not always like the higher are the numbers, the better. Sometimes like the relevancy is the key. And in case if we have a chance to refresh this data and we have a chance to double check this information and make sure that it's relevant and can be trusted, you need to do this. Because if you build the prioritization of your comparators to focus on, that can mislead you, and in most cases, in case if you check how comparators stack with each other to figure out top performing players, um, probably in that industry data for backlinks wasn't like updated like for a long time and so on, and you will make like false decisions. I can see the question from Lubomir, my dear friend. Um, Traffic share of comparators in Serpstat, again in short. In Serpstat, you can get it in comparators report in the rank tracker. But the example that I showed you, that's is the same in short, that's the same that we use in the interface. If you work with Serpstat, that's enough for you to input the set of keywords and desired locations, and we will calculate it for it. But in short, you grab all of the keywords that you received, multiply um, them by CTR of the position, multiply the search volume by CTR of the position, and then divide by that correlational modifier. And you do the same for all of the players in top 20 results. You can go with top 10. You can go even with top 5, because if you work with this data on your end, you can apply any CTRs. In Serpstat, we apply like static CDRs for all of the projects, which is not assigned to special elements. Special elements has a huge effect on click-through rates, but we prefer to give like multiply by the common, um, because that's still an estimation. So in few words, that's the idea.
Okay, it seems we've covered all the questions, and it's time to wrap things up. Is there anything you'd like to add or highlight before we end, Eugene?
Yep, guys. Thanks for attending. I definitely think that's not enough like visualization in my presentation, but I wanted to cover as many use cases as it possible in a short period of time, and those that can which like were excited for me personally, and I wanted to share them with you. In case if you have like any like specific ideas, requirements, and so on and so on, you can reach out to me anytime. Elena will share the link where you can book a short meeting. I will definitely love to hear about um, your expectations and help you with building this up, like anything related to pulling data with the API or simply brainstorming. Even if Serpstat cannot do this, I will advise other solutions for you. So thanks for attending. Like, you know where to find me. Anytime you need my help, you can reach out.
Thank you very much. The link Eugene mentioned will be mailed to you tomorrow in the after webinar email, so stay tuned. And guys, follow Serpstat social media and join Serpstat chat on Twitter too. There we discuss SEO related topics with digital marketers, and all the information is on our Serpstat profile on Twitter. Eugene, I'd like to thank you once again for such a thoughtful presentation, a lot of examples, use cases. And guys, thank you for being here, asking questions, watching us, and just being engaged. And enjoy the week and take care. Bye bye.
Thanks, guys. See you. See you later.